there. Obviously, players will probably know the best as well, but it's always interesting to give coaches another opportunity to kind of have their voices heard, and this format is perfect for that.
Yeah, 100%. We talk about the depth of Rocket League. We mentioned this a little bit briefly, as it's going to start off quickly for HEET. What a shot by Force. There's that French player you were talking about, Crowley.
Hey, exactly what I'm talking about here. This is the type of pop-off that you don't want if you're on Ankaa, excuse me, as HEET starts off hot. And again, I think a lot of people looked at their run and said Moxie was the guy to carry them through ones, but HEET also had quite a few good threes wins, and this is something that I think Ankaa and teams in the future will have to look out for. It's kind of a sleeper here on their threes game in HEET, and you really have to play up to their level.
Well, should be a fun one here, Crowley, as we get into our second best of 5 of the day. HEET and Ankaa starting off strong with a quick shot before save, but now it's been all offense for Ankaa, as we have again our overall standings right now. What was Juicers, now HEET, is kind of tough to add to the overall rankings. I think they were sitting like 19th in Europe just because they were one of those new teams that evolved in the spring split that just came to a conclusion, where they ended up placing once in the main event. But as for Ankaa, 7th overall, and Mina, this is kind of the exciting thing about these tournaments, is we are getting exposure to the depth of both these regions, which we haven't been able to really take a glance at previously sought after. So usually we get to spoil the ones at the top, but this time around everybody's involved.
Yeah, especially for Mina as well, and a lot of these Middle Eastern teams. That's really the most exciting part here, I think, for this LAN, is that you do get to see the depth of just the players and pound for pound what they bring, because not only are you going to see them in threes, but obviously in twos and ones, so you really get to see the breadth of skill and talent that Mina has to offer. And Ankaa is one of those teams, and like I said earlier, I do think their threes will probably be the weakest, just knowing how this team came together. But when we get past the threes here, especially after this game, win or lose, I think you will see Ankaa do a lot better.
Well, couple big touches, and what HEET is doing very well is those challenges in the midfield. Multiple times trying to get it clear. You see one challenge there, and then another one immediately up. But it's on target, unable to find the touch, and up by 2. So HEET feeling pretty confident with their shots. A lot of power and good positioning overall, which again is something that you mentioned, Crowley. It should be expected from HEET. Obviously, only swapping 1 player instead of 2 should add a little bit of stability, but the mechanics from Ankaa is something not to shy away from. As another big clear, and that one might actually end up going in. Oh, wow. Those are unfortunate. You hate to see it.
So kind of a slow start here from Ankaa. I mean, this goal is a little bit more Mickey than the other ones, but the first 2 goals were just too slow to the ball, and a missed touch as well from Ankaa. So very, very slow here in this first game, in the first 2 minutes from Ankaa, and HEET kind of just picking him apart, just being faster to the ball and taking advantage of mistakes.
Unfortunately, the flick not going to connect there for Jalump, so it is Park over the top, and some aggression. Good challenge met on this one, and then beat the other way. A quick cut. Twiz is there, popped over the top, and no follow-up again. Not trying to challenge immediately. For some reason, that pre-jump is actually going to block off a force and make it a little bit awkward. But again, that margin of error is something that's happening so much with all these players getting so mechanical that even though it may not be the best touch, turns nothing into something. Resid's going to keep this one close, has a second flip over the top of the middle, but again, Ankaa trying to do everything they can to keep possession in the other half, even if it means throwing a Bonnie at it.
You're seeing Ankaa, I think, very slowly kind of get a foothold in this game. They're having to pick up their pace, and you can tell because HEET, they're owning the airspace of the midfield just completely. Holistically, every single time that ball's in the air, it's a HEET player meeting it near the roof or even on the ground. I do think Ankaa very slowly speeding up their game and reading what HEET is bringing to the table. You can see Parker get up so quick, but a great block here from Twiz, and Ankaa now maybe a chance for them to set something up. A good little passing play towards the net, or say they're able to get it out.
Smart play by HEET either way. Again, that play is threatening by Ankaa, but something that he does well is recognizing, hey, spatial awareness. We got to play this into an empty space, and you know, all the attack is coming from one side. Let's play it back across body and put it out of the way. And that one, a small mistake on the back end, going to be punished by HEET.
And again, another missed touch here coming out from Ankaa, and I think that's really been the big takeaway here from game 1. I think realistically, their only mistake was the 3rd goal when they crept up too far and that clear kind of caught them off guard. Otherwise, the 3 other goals that they've had, 1, 2, and 4, have been just missed touches.
And a lot of pressure on the line, and you know, we talk about trying to settle into a series. A lot of that does just apply to making sure those mechanics are there. It's why we really touched on it with Daniil, is when you're a new player coming in on loan, like being able to get involved early, you're part of the standard rotation, you feel part of the team, and that confidence that it kind of instills does make a pretty big difference. For Ankaa, you know, the big one they want to take away from this is just put a goal on the board. You know, try to find something that you can to come away with it. As we get into our final minute, it's going to be Parka who decides to put one in again, as it makes it up by 5 with a minute left here for HEET.
And that's another quality goal there from HEET, just kind of chipping away at Ankaa. And Ankaa really just had one little touch to kind of pop it out of the box there, but HEET's so quick to collapse Parka with a great shot on target in the end. And of course, some disruption there in the box as well. 5-0 is the scoreline in game 1. And I think, again, I've repeated it a couple times, I do think that 3s will be the weakest point for Ankaa, but you know, look out for their 2s and 1s. I think that's where they're going to shine a little bit more.
Yeah, again, the 3-man rotation has gotten kind of crazy lately, Corelli, with how fast and everything is playing out. So any slight miscommunication or any slight rotation that's just a bit off, it definitely throws everything away. So while I do think Ankaa's had some pretty good moments, and they, again, you can see the skill level of the players like you're mentioning, like we're going to see really, I think, emphasized in 2s and 1s. You do see a couple pass plays, but so small mistouches that have really been punished, other than the one where they cheat up a little bit too far. So I wouldn't be too distraught right away, but again, good start for HEET. They're going to be feeling pretty confident about this one, and rightfully so. Something that they can rely on as their 3s coming into this one. But as we get through these final few seconds, it is going to be game 1 from HEET, and then we start talking about this chess match of Ankaa. Do they go 1s or 2s? Excited to find out.
Yeah, that's really the question. I would guess 2s. But I don't know how confident they are in 1s. I mean, obviously, if it is 1s, he's probably going to put out Reziers. That's why he's here. But I think they have other options in Parka as well. But I think that is the question. What is Ankaa wanting to do here? My guess would be 2s. If I was Ankaa, I would go with 2s.
Taking a look at all the highlights, you can see primarily from HEET getting to the ball first, winning a lot of challenges. Curious if that's going to carry over to 2s as well, which I would expect. Maybe on this one, maybe you don't bring in Reziers. Maybe you do keep it Park and Force because they do have that French connection, speaking in the native tongue. Leave Reziers out of the loop a little bit, you know, and kind of go and
it's a real
shore that up. Yeah, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see on how that one plays out. But on the other side, I'm curious on what Ankaa ends up doing. Talam and Twiz sound like pretty solid options, but at this point, it's anybody's game. So maybe they go to 1s. Maybe we're both wrong. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, obviously they have to either pick 1s or 2s, but I think the 3s is a great way for Ankaa to kind of get into this, because again, I don't think it's their strongest thing, and I also think that there's a lot of land rookies here. So for them to just kind of get their feet wet, get into the rotation of things, and just kind of get things going is very, very important. And again, I do think that they know what they're getting into now. And if they do go 2s, then I do think it'll be a bit of a closer game, just because obviously it's one step down from 3s. And, you know, pound for pound, I do think that there are some strong players on this Ankaa side.
Yeah, without a doubt, not to discredit, obviously, it is going to see like a pretty glaring difference. But we saw the same thing with Rogan Secret, where like, okay, it looked really one-sided, and then all of a sudden, Knight's like, yo, hold on. And all of a sudden, 4 in a row, 5 in a row, trying to do whatever he can to bounce back. So again, a lot of depth in both these regions, and I'm glad it's being showcased, but primarily there's a lot of games still left to play, and it is tough to kind of get into a groove every time where you're switching the game mode. I remember we did a tournament back in like 2019 early with WSOE, where there was like pauses in the middle of a series, and how jarring that was. And now we're seeing pauses as a standard thing in a best of 7 for a tactical timeout. So we'll see what ends up happening, as it is going to be 2s. Reziers is going to step in, rightfully so. SC and Parker are going to see what they can do against Twiz and Talam, so we're right on that one as well. Good to see some of the things we're trying to figure out, Corelli, are coming true.
Yeah, and
it is that 2s game.
I was about to say, you're already seeing that pressure coming out from Ankaa. The mechanics showing themselves a little bit. Talam with a great touch, flip reset over Parka. That's the type of start you need from Ankaa. And like I said, this 2s might be a bit stronger than their 3s here, and a great start here for Ankaa.
Only taking a handful or 2 of seconds. And there's another kickoff here for Ankaa. Trying to read this one. Very aggressive challenge off the ceiling. Something that you can kind of get away with. The big counterattacks aren't as punishing in 2s, because you don't have that person kind of left over to make a good infield pass and then blast it downfield. So HEET trying to bounce back. It is Parka showing off his own mechanics. Flip reset, gets a bump, but Reziers playing this one a bit passively, trying to play it safe, doesn't want to get punished, rightfully so. As it's cleared back the other way, soft touch and control. I'm just going to let this one go. Try to draw in that defense, but a lot of these touches need to be careful. It's a race back downfield, immediately recovered and demoed the other way.
And I was telling you before, Lawler, I really love twos because it's just as much about posturing as it is about outplay. And that's kind of what makes it so special, is that you have that extra variable of the posturing with your teammate, which makes it so much more different than ones. And here we see Parka able to put one away. You can kind of see HEET slowly working the ball on the Ankaa side here. Razier's just trying to make it tough for Twiz to deal with. And unfortunately, a double commit came out from Ankaa, and that's an open shot there for Parka.
Yeah, the right idea there. And you talk about that posturing as well. You see a perfect example of it, you know, just going up and standing tall and trying to make a play out of it. And it falls in front of the net, and then it becomes the defense's challenge. Like, hey, did we play this to the corner? I think that's why that double commit came out as well, is like recognizing if you pinch this, it's going to go out to a defender. And it's something that Razier's been doing a really good job of in particular, but you're seeing from the teammate as well. No immediate challenges. You saw in threes, just super aggressive to every challenge, get to the ball, but they're being pretty patient with that second person in rotation. As a shot comes here, it's going to be a good touch. And Talam, Ankaa back up by 1.
Yeah, a quality challenge there as well, putting Parka in a very tough situation. And in twos, it's very quick. These goals can happen so quickly when one player is just awkward, because he even just got a touch on that ball to slow it down, but it was awkward. It was not the most high quality shot for them to keep possession, and Ankaa was able to clamp down immediately. And that's kind of, again, something that's very special for twos, is that when you have the perfect posturing, when you have the perfect positioning, you can put one player in an awkward position and then instantly able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, 100%. It feels like it snowballs out of hand really quickly in twos, especially when you get rotation and boost control going over. It just comes to be a point where you're like, this is inevitable. Like, they are going to score here. It's just a matter of time, unless you get one of those big clears. But an individual effort it's going to be from Ankaa. That's a great touch.
Talam, look at this. And I didn't think he could get down to it. He's really stretching to get that touch, but he still put it on target. That's incredible for Talam, and he can't do much about it. Ankaa showing their teeth here in game 2 in this 2v2. Definitely looking to be the stronger team at the moment, just mechanically as well. Really making HEET work for it defensively.
I think it was Gyro that ended up putting out that tweet saying about, like, hey, so much respect to the Middle Eastern teams that have to play on EU ping with 100+. While I get to play with 12 at home, and you can see, like, they are an extremely fast region. There was that conversation of, I'm pretty sure it was Johnny Boy again, who was obviously always trying to advocate for Mina, rightfully so. But talking about how, hey, who's the fastest region based on boost consumption and everything else, and Mina gets a lot of credit for that. If you watch their regionals, it is very, very quick, and you're seeing that come out. And then you get rid of that ping issue on LAN, and you got a beast of a team. So Ankaa wasn't able to do it in threes, but a little bit of space here in twos, and they are really punishing with these mechanics. Solid play in the first 3 minutes as they find themselves up by 3, possibly 4. No, it's a good challenge by Parka. As a boost secure, it's going to be an aggressive challenge, and it immediately played around. The shot could be a pass. It's actually underneath, and a save that almost is there, but ends up just leading to a goal, and it's all smiles here on Ankaa.
Yeah, very happy watching that one. And I guess if you're just sitting on the sideline watching your team go on Ankaa, you're quite happy at the moment.
I mean, that's gonna be an interesting vibe though, Crowley, right? Because like we've never seen like you're on the bench, like you're just chilling. We've never really seen that in professional play. It's gotta be a different vibe.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at. I mean, if you're suspect, you're just the biggest cheerleader of your team right now, right? I mean, realistically, they got 2 cheerleaders now with the coach behind them, and I think that matters too. Like we were mentioning earlier before we were getting into the series, you know, obviously the format is very unique, but the way the format plays is even more unique on LAN because your teammates are literally sitting next to you watching you play for the team. So it's not only the pressure of playing on LAN against a high-quality player, you also have your team that are relying on you, sitting there right next to you, watching you play.
There is some interesting things like you mentioned about like LAN meta that people don't really notice until they play, especially for like rookies, where like you get demoed and the camera doesn't show, so you just look at your teammate's computer. There's little things like that that are so different to being there in an environment, plus being able to, you know, celebrate with your teammates nearby. And like you said, in this circumstance, have 2, potentially 3 cheerleaders if we go into ones like we got to see with Rogan's Secret, is a different vibe. But good job by HEET off the kickoff. Again, you mentioned the ability to score very quickly in twos, and they bring it back within 2 very quickly.
Yeah, that's a quality kickoff there from Razier's, just straight up and down. off the ceiling, and an easy read for him. Didn't need boost because the ball just landed on top of his head. Minute 22 left on the clock here in game 2. Ankaa, they've been in control for most of it. Now a fake kickoff comes out from HEET. And Park trying to get the bump. He does. The ball trickling towards the net. And that was a great start there off the kickoff for HEET. And something that I don't think we've even touched on yet was just the kind of kickoff meta. You're seeing more and more teams throw out different types of kickoffs, as Ankaa might have one here. Parka able to get back. But the kickoff game is something not only in ones, but in twos and in threes too. You can really make work and give yourself a goal, as Parka puts HEET within one.
Yeah, really good clear here. This one in the back corner looked like it was going to get challenged immediately, but able to get around it, actually pinched it all the way to the left-hand side. So what looked like was going to be a dunk and possibly a goal situation for Ankaa turns into a goal for HEET. You talk about the big swing and how quickly that can happen. What looked like big trouble for HEET, they've adjusted quite well too. So Ankaa finds himself back on offense. You're hoping that they can kind of break this curse, as it has been a bunch unanswered for them. So we get into a final 40 seconds. It's a shot, a perfect redirect, and what a shot to tie it up from Reziers.
I was just thinking in my own head, I was like, it'd be a real shame if Ankaa let this one slip away, and they slowly are here, because they've played a fantastic game up until this point. But you got to give a lot of credit over to HEET. They've done a great job of staying in this one, even when Ankaa were feeling themselves and outplaying them. 41 seconds, we're tied up. 10 goals have been scored.
Very stoic look there from Reziers on the player cam. As this one could be a double touch. He plays it in. What a shot from Parka.
Yup. That's the danger. Parka off the ceiling, and a second touch down and away, and Ankaa left staring at that goal. And with 33 seconds left, Ankaa now on the back foot in a game that they've been so comfortable in, letting this one slip away now.
Was a massive goal lead, and they respond perfectly. At this point, Corelli, what's defense?
Look at that angle. Look how he angles his car.
Zero hesitation as well.
Wow. That was crucial for Ankaa, and Twiz kind of putting on a master class of car control there and finding the right angle. He knew this one was going to be tough to beat Reziers. If he hit it any other way, Reziers might have had a chance on it. That's great work from Twiz. Tied up, a crucial goal, as I mentioned. 20 seconds left now.
Smart back pass as well. Blom chasing that one down. It's going to be a pinch, goes up high. Final 10 seconds. Trying to go for a second touch here. It ends up perfectly kissing and going back down the other way. But control there for Ankaa. Second touch, seeing if they're going to keep this one up and go with one last attempt. He throws it up high. It's a shot down and saved away. We have overtime in game number 2.
Wow. Well, if you're HEET, you're happy, right? You're seeing this overtime and you're saying, okay, we made the comeback. If you're Ankaa, I think the pressure's on you. This is the one that's kind of slipped out of your fingertips. And it's getting more and more dangerous as HEET certainly got their offense going. Individual play coming out as well. Maybe a big play from Twiz is what Ankaa needs. Tough read coming down, and he can't get the touch. Talam, though, might have an opportunity as well. He's got full boost. Looking for the dunk, not going to happen. Ankaa putting on the pressure early, and HEET not folding.
Again, the scary thing about twos is, yes, an easy way to alleviate pressure, but you're also giving up possession very quickly with a lot of these just booming clears. It gives you that kind of breath of relief, but the difficulty as well is with how mechanical all these players are.
Way.
You're seeing an example of it here. It's a double touch, and HEET is able to bring it back.
Oh, that's disaster for Ankaa. It's such a great game from them, but HEET with a massive comeback, and so many clips were scored here from this HEET side. A lot of great comeback goals, a lot of great quality goals from individual players here. And that one hurts, because now if you're Ankaa, you got to go back into a threes game where HEET really ran away with it.
Insane, man. Having a 4-goal lead, and HEET is able to claw their way back and eventually winning it in overtime. And it looks like it was going to go either way. You know, you saw Twiz at the very end, that important goal to neutralize that goal that they got off of that initial clear. But just too much. It's been a lot of the mechanical side of things too. Like, the challenges have been good for Ankaa. This one in particular, like, Talam's in the right place. He's going and covering that backboard, but those efforts, the response, is just, it isn't enough, Corelli.
That's a frustrating one if you're Ankaa and an Ankaa fan. Again, I think basically the first 3 minutes, they were in full control. It felt like they were the better team, better players. And then the last 2 minutes really fell off. And maybe that's more credit to HEET. They did a great job of kind of getting their offense going, slowed down Ankaa's attack. But that was a massive lead. I think it was like, what, 5-1 at one point that got away from them. So a frustrating game, not only because they let their lead slip, but again, they go back into a 3v3 matchup where they did not fare very well in game one.
Hopefully they can do the same thing HEET just did, where they make those small adjustments as we get into game 3. It is HEET on match point, trying to close this out in a 3-0. Be curious on how it applies. Already early challenges from Ankaa, much better than last time. This goes off the back wall, and an easy clear. Rezer should have one more important 50, brings us into the midfield. Both teams very aggressive on challenges. Need to be careful though for Ankaa. We've seen them do this in the past, and then they get bit with counterattacks. Something that the Falcons have punished them for dearly in the RLCS. It's a good chip up and met in the midfield. And they're going to leave that midfield boost as they try to chase down that back player, trying to go for a free touch on target, but not able to connect on the demo.
And I think, when we look back at game one and Ankaa's performance, we did chalk it up to a lot of just mistakes, right? Off the back wall, some missed touches. And I don't think that's going to be typical for Ankaa. They're not that inconsistent. I don't think that first game was really their best effort. And so I'm looking at this game and hoping that you see a little bit more consistency coming out from Ankaa. And I think you are getting that already here in the first minute. Some great work to kind of push away HEET as they are certainly getting their offense going here with a lot of possession. But I don't think that's typical from Ankaa, even in this threes game where I don't think they're favored, to be as consistent here. This is a tough one to get the read, and Plum does a great job to at least slow that one down, get a good touch, and some good control here from Ankaa as they're trying to mount some sort of attack. And unfortunately, possession lost.
So far, Ankaa's doing a pretty good job of handling this offense that we've seen, and even more so, not afraid to go up and match it. There's been a lot of times where teams that play this super aggressive play style tend to sit back and just welcome that offense and then hope for a counterattack. But Ankaa's trying to match it and go toe-to-toe with them, which I think is really important. You don't want to let this team get comfortable and play their own play style. As Forsyth is going to come flat across. Whoa. It's a beautiful shot, but it's actually a save. It was a double commit and manages to go in between both of them and out.
A little dicey defensively there from Ankaa. Little dicey, seeing double players dive across the box, not getting the touch, and the third man has to pick it up. Not what you want, but they do make the save, and that's what's important at the end of the day. HEET, though, certainly looking the better team. And it feels like only a matter of time before they push through. Forsyth still getting the read. Ankaa looking for some semblance of offense. They've poked down the field a few times, but haven't been able to hold on to the ball. Now Razier's second touch looming, and that one off the
How many touches is he gonna get?
How did that go in?
He wins the challenge in the corner. He gets another in midfield. He plays another and then gets a double touch. Like, I understand why they brought him in, but my goodness.
I don't even know what to say if you're Ankaa there. He hit both posts, and then it went in. I mean, that's so hard to get the read on. If you don't get it on the first post, you're not going to get it off the second post. And now HEET gets their 1-goal lead here. Now Ankaa, that's a great demo. Unfortunately, again, the attack just not threatening enough at the moment from Ankaa. HEET really haven't been tested too much, and that one not the best touch. It was actually Twiz who got the touch there. And still another shot coming through. Twiz will put it away. And a good opportunity here from Ankaa. They're able to tie things up.
Yeah, really important one here. And a lot of that pressure just being enabled by the defense getting completely removed. Something that I think Ankaa is doing a great job of is making those adjustments. And if a team's playing fast, through rotation, if you can keep denying those boosts and then get a demo out of it, it can make it really tough for HEET to clear the ball out. So great job by them to respond. It has been a lot of individual effort on the side of HEET. Rezer's in particular making his impact known as he makes a good pop here. No boost to follow it up, so should be cleared back the other way. As this game is neutral with a minute and a half to go. Trying to get recover on the back wall. It's a soft touch straight down. It's a shot, but it's a save. Fortunately for them, Talop not in position to make a touch. He was going back for boost, so double touch opportunity right off the backboard. Nothing for free here anymore, Corelli.
Yeah, that was honestly probably one of Ankaa's better drives, even though it came up scoreless. Some good passing there on the HEET side and really confused that defense. Unfortunately, the shot was directly at the man in net. Still Ankaa. They're in a good position here, in a much better position than they were in game one, where I think he just ran away with it. Ankaa certainly, I think, a little bit more confident. Maybe the nerves a little bit more relaxed as they kind of had a couple games to get into this, or at least a couple games just to sit on stage and kind of feel the moment. 45 seconds left now. HEET wanting to threaten one more time.
100% Crowley. You're starting to see both that confidence apply both on the offense and the defense. You're starting to see pre-jumps even in some of these saves, but again, can they translate that into a goal? That's kind of been the deciding factor. Is for the most time, it's been a couple shots here and there, and if it's not for the demos, they haven't really been able to find it. But Rezier is almost something insane. You even hear Corelli's reaction to it as that flip reset. If it would have connected with a little bit of power, who knows if it would have went in? But a double commit and a big chance for a counterattack. Rezier's is down there as well. Gonna play it high in solo, and Ankaa's defense able to hold on in the final 5 seconds. Can they do it?
It would be sweet for Ankaa to win this one, especially with the way the twos game went. Letting that one kind of slip away, but to come back in threes and a much stronger opportunity here as another pass comes across the box, but it's way too high. Demo's coming out as well. Ankaa really turning up the heat here, and they can't seem to put one away as Parker gets bumped out of the way. Now they're going to need some defense here as Ankaa certainly putting on the pressure here early in overtime, and HEET just trying to weather the storm.
Honestly, what seems to be the answer, a lot of these touches getting met well. Another bump by Twiz. Again, what worked so well for them in their first goal is a lot of the pressure is on. If they can keep that rotational play and deny some of these boosts, they should be able to find it. But that's a beautiful clear by Reziers. As it goes in the corner, it's pinched immediately back the other way and up high. Shot on target. Parker's going to have to stretch for this one. And makes a good save, but immediately met by Ankaa. Good challenges to keep it on their half. In the corner, soft touch, has a retouch. Almost able to get there as Twiz. Been showcasing those mechanics pretty dang well. But gonna bring it back all the way around, find a teammate, and it goes back the other way. That one's on target. Plenty of defense here from HEET. Keep it out. Minute into overtime. Good attempts from both.
And the HEET defense definitely looking a bit more shaky here in this overtime. A lot of holes, a lot of double commits coming out as well. Certainly not what you want to see from them. They haven't been punished quite yet, but I think Ankaa kind of recognizes that, and I do think it's a lot of Twiz doing a lot of good physical play on the HEET side. But certainly not the strongest defense coming out from HEET at the moment. They're lucky they haven't been scored on, and they're able to keep the attack going here for the moment. Forse kind of in chase here, Ankaa. Maybe a chance. Unfortunately, still can't get out. The challenge game still going in HEET's favor, and dangerous as that one's dropped in front of the box, but no one there to follow up.
Yeah, I think you touched on it pretty quickly, but yeah, Twiz has kind of been the difference maker. Making it just somewhat awkward has been the answer, it feels like, because anytime he gets into a groove, you see what they're able to do with their touches. Is this one a beautiful shot over the top? No follow-up. It looked like that was going to be it, and now a big counterattack. A solo play, and it's going to be Forse who dunks it in. I can't believe that's how it ends.